All right, well, welcome back to this week's Bluebeam Tip of the Week kind of workflow edition. Thanks for stopping in here. You'll notice the clock's a little bit longer this week just because this tip, I think, just has a little bit more to it, but it's a really, really valuable tip that I think you guys will save a lot of you guys some time and also allow you to be a little bit more, I guess, accurate when it comes to comparing different documents. So with that leading in, what this week's tip of the week is going to be about is document comparison. And so we've talked a little bit about the tool before, but we're going to talk about kind of more of that stints in a workflow environment. And so the document comparison features, it's a great feature, but there's some things that we can do after that I wanted to kind of loop you guys in as far as what the workflow really looks like to take this document comparison to a deliverable, such as a report that you would need to print out that has maybe a kind of a summary of all the different changes that have happened in a document. And so a typical workflow from a construction team's standpoint is they get different document revisions in, and maybe they could be in different sets or different amounts, and they need to do a quick comparison of, well, what changed, and have a quick summary. And then the other part to it that typically happens in that is assigning those changes to be discussions with certain types of people. So the workflow I'm going to really talk about here is document comparison followed up by a summary report of different objects that need to be, or markups that need to be discussed with different people. So I'm gonna go a little quick just because there's a lot to cover, and I want to make sure that this video doesn't get super long, but want to show you some features that you might not know about, whether that's document comparison or printing off to PDF summary reports. And so the thing that I'm going to probably mention the most here is within the document comparison what's going to happen. So before I actually start the timer here, is document comparison is going to analyze the actual vectors on the page. And so what that's doing is it's analyzing all the different lines within this document and not just the cloud segments that have changed. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and start this off here just so we can wrap this up relatively quickly and give you guys a chance to actually see and use this on your project when document changes or revisions come out. So let's go ahead and get this thing started. So you'll notice up here that I have an ASI 3 and an ASI 7 document pulled up here. And so what you'll see here is that if I actually do a split screen view, just to give you the example of where these have changed, I do have sync mode turned on, which if you're unfamiliar with sync, what it does is it actually syncs these two windows. So as I scroll in here, it's going to move this screen as well. So if you didn't know about that, mind blown, it's pretty neat. So the other part here is that I'm going to show you ASI 3 is on the left here and ASI 7 is on the right. So you'll notice that this one actually has a change here that shows a cloud on this. And so document comparison is going to pick that up because something is new on this page, but what I'm going to really show you is what document comparison is really doing to finding all of the little tiny details that have come into play here. So document comparison is up here under the tab of document, and it's under the comparison drop down right here. So when I click on compare documents, it's going to bring up this pop-up window that says, hey, what are the two documents that you want to compare? And then the output folder is referring to the third document that actually gets produced based off these two. So the question that I often get asked is anything happening to these original documents, and no, nothing is happening to them. It's going to create a third document over this ASI 7, which is the newer one, and it's going to cloud any changes that came from ASI 3, which would be the old one. So here what you see here is that we're actually going to make this ASI 7, so document A is the newer document, and document B is the older document. So here I have ASI 7 and ASI 3. So document A again is the newer, document B is the older. And so everything else looks good here. These are just different settings that you can go and play around with, and so we're going to go ahead and actually hit OK here. So what's going to happen here is you'll see that it's creating this file called ASI7 diff, which is the new file that it's doing the comparison to. So what I have again over here is ASI 3, and now I have ASI 7 with all these clouds on it. So for example, if I go down here to this bottom right hand corner, ASI 3, and it's clouding, hey, something changed, ASI 7 in this area, I'm clouding that as a change. So that's just an example of what it's doing. So if we go back up here to this, this mechanical room, just to take a look at what it's changing, you'll see here that, yeah, it picked up the fact that it clouded that change, which is good. And when I click on this, you'll notice that all these markups are locked, which means that I can't move them around until I actually right-click and unlock them. So this one, for example, I'm not too concerned about because I know that it actually picked up that change. But I'm going to take you to an area where the architect didn't cloud in this case, and something did change. So when you look at this door here, for example, you'll notice that on this new revision, so again, ASI 7 is on the right, ASI 3 is on the left, you'll notice that this door actually has a view pane in it now where it didn't in the past. And so this would be a really good example of a case where a change happened but did not get clouded. And so this is what I mean when we say that Bluebeam is actually doing vector-based comparison, is that it even analyzes all the lines that happen on this document. And it's going to cloud that as a change. So if I right click on this and actually unlock it, now I have access to move that around or adjust whatever size that I need to. And so the other workflow behind this is that, okay, let's say that I want to categorize these different clouds and all that to a certain person. So again, up here you'll see, well, why did it cloud up here? Well, it clouded that because there are actually walls that got added that weren't clouded on this new revision. And so again, that might scare you as someone on the construction side or someone on the design side, that, hey, when did these walls get added, or how are we looking at these? And so this is what it's doing, is it's actually comparing all the vector-based content, not just the architectural clouds that might have been changed or clouded for that area. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to go back down to this door. And now that I've unlocked it, you'll notice here that I'm going to go down to my markups list. And what it's doing is it's keeping a markups list of all these different files, all these different clouds that came up as markups here. So you'll see here that this one has a lot of stuff going on. It's because it has a big cloud here, and there may be some things in here. You can actually, again, at any time go and click on this markup and unlock it and do whatever adjustments that you need to make. It's just kind of giving you a flag warning to say, hey, something has changed. But again, let's go back to this door just as an example here. So when I click on this door, it's going to bring up this markups list down here and say, hey, this is where that markup is. What I want to do here is add a custom column to make this a little bit more filterable to a specific person. And so a custom column really just adds a column in here that says, hey, this is going to go and other information is going to be added to this markup here. So I'm going to click on this gearbox next to the columns, says manage columns, custom columns up here. I'm going to add, and I'm going to make this a choice column here. And so I'm going to call this responsibility. And I'm going to add a selection in here that says interior designer. I'm going to say, and let's just say I'm going to do MEP consultant. Okay, so what that's going to do is as soon as I hit OK and OK, it's going to add that as an extra column here on the right. So you'll see here that I added that down here, and I can click and drag and move that. So when I click on this here, this is what gets really neat, is adding other information to this markup. And so as I double click on this here, I now have two options to say, okay, whatever different people that I wanted to add that responsibility to. So this one, for example, I want to add this to the interior designer. So if I click on that here, I now added that as different information tied to that markup. I can add a comment here like, hey, what's going on? And all this is just metadata associated to that markup. And so the other part that we can do with this is if I click on filter over here, I can now filter by just those different people that I had in that markup or in that custom column. And so now here, when I click on that, it's now taking all those different markups and shrinking them down into one specific person or filter that I had access to. So all those different markups that you saw on there are now just one markup that pertains to that specific person. So I got 30 seconds left here, rushing to the finish line. But what you can do with this is you can actually take this to a PDF report as kind of a summary. So what I'm going to do here is go to summary and click on PDF summary report, and what this is going to do is it's actually going to generate a cover page that discusses all those markups that you had here pertaining to that specific person, which was interior designer. So if I were to tag multiple different ones to this interior designer, it would show and pull those up. And the neat part is that when I click on this, it'll actually take me to that specific spot on that page. And so what it did is it actually just added it to that page itself of what that cover page was describing. And so I I know I went really fast, but I wanted to just show you what those capabilities were when it came to actual document comparison, and then actually taking this information on here and making it filterable by whatever different trade or different person that you needed to talk to. And so if you do have any questions about this, definitely reach out to me, let me know. I know this is a lot to put in a video, but really just wanted to show you this capability, and hope you guys use it. Again, what we were up to is document comparison up here, and then talked a little bit about kind of this custom column aspect of adding different metadata information to a markup itself. So take a look at it, play around with it, give me a shout if you need some questions, and we'll see you next week. Thanks.